Yo, what up, Logan? Yo, Garkot ain't no snitch, bro. He ain't no snitch. He ain't telling the Muslims where the Jewish people are at. Oh man, speaking of Muslims, I've been dealing with some stupid ones today, man. Just in general on social media, you guys are by far not sending your best, man. You never really have, but you know it's kind of getting worse. Let's go through let's go through the prayer day, brother Mike. What's up, man? Welcome. What's going on, young Christian? Always welcome in the house. Yeah, man, I had to block like 3 guys today, man, because they come in talking about they want to debate and this and that. Then they start trying to insult you, and it's like, dude, I really don't have time for your silliness. And then they start calling you names, calling you out of your name. And then on top of that, after telling you that you're too cowardly to debate, they try to debate you in your DMs on Instagram and TikTok. It's like, dude, they accuse you of running, but then they want to save face and they don't want to talk to you live. They want to talk to you, just right there in the DMs, or like I said, they can save face with their little secret profiles that nobody knows about. It's quite pathetic, man, but it shouldn't surprise you coming from Diarrhea Dawa, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and check this out. Romans chapter 12 verses 1 and 2. Today's not going to be the longest stream in the world, guys. I'm exhausted. I have a migraine, but I did want to hang out with you guys for a little bit, get a stream out there. If anybody wants to call, they can call. I would prefer people call if they want to share testimony or they want prayer. We are definitely re-invoking that back into the stream. The debates and everything in those conversations are great. Those are not going away anytime soon, but I want to re-invite and renew my dedication towards praying for people live and sharing the testimony and discussing topics about the Bible and Jesus Christ, because again, that is something that has gone the way of the dinosaur the last few months, and I do not in any way want that to go away. I want people to be able to come here for prayer live. Still use crossunits.net/pray if you guys want to remain on my prayer list, and just talk about what's really important, man. But again, I'm not telling people they can't call in anymore. I'm not telling the atheists and Muslims they can't call in. But that is something that I do want. If people do want to call in just for that, then I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing, and that's what we're going to do. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Welcome to the stream, Johnny Bonner. So let me go ahead and share, because I actually want your thoughts as well, and anyone else who wants to join on the panel, please go ahead and feel free to come through. Let me share this. I don't know if you're aware of this, Johnny, but I saw this while I was on my lunch break at work, and let's just say that as funny as I thought it was, I didn't find it too surprising. So setting you guys up, here's the premise behind it, ladies and gents. I don't know why my chat box is not working today. Social Stream Ninja, ladies and gents, for some reason is not, it was not detecting that I had a live stream. I don't know why. I can't really figure it out. I tried to find the live stream, and then it said that it didn't detect any, even though I had already scheduled it. I've never had that issue, especially with the YouTube side, but if I try to select it now, yeah, it's still telling me no live or upcoming streams found for Brother Maverick. So I don't know, I don't know what that's about, guys. Again, my apologies. I will try to fix that at some point tomorrow. I don't know how I will, because I actually have to be live for the chat to work. But yeah, we'll see. But anyways, you guys see the chat. You don't need to see it on screen. I know that's not what's important. Apparently, Chris from Speaker's Corner, anybody who's familiar with him, this guy right here, he is a Christian chop from the United Kingdom, and he put a video out regarding Deen Responds, and it's titled "Muslim Apologist Caught on Livestream Refusing to Defend His Own Arguments." Now, I can actually vouch for this, ladies and gents, through personal experience. Several months ago, I didn't know who Deen Responds was. And when I got hit by, I don't remember who on Discord. Again, this was before I met even Grafted. This was before I met Young Christian. This was before I met a lot of the guys who've been coming through. And he said, there's this guy named Deen Responds, and he's a Muslim, and he's talking about this and that, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right. And I didn't want to get up. I was already in bed. I was trying to go to sleep for work. And I was like, you know what? I'll give him a few minutes. So I get on. I find his channel. I click a StreamYard. and I'm sitting in the back, right? And you guys know, unlike the Diarrhea Dawaku, I don't hide my camera. You guys know who I am. You know where I am. I don't have, and I'm not afraid to show you guys who I am. That's something that they do. It's not something I do. And I sat there. I sat there for at least 45 minutes today. Until this day, I still have the screenshots sitting in his back in his back room, and he never brought me up. Come to find out later on that what ended up happening is Deen has people in his he has moderators who essentially what they do is they will look at whoever's sitting backstage. And if you are someone, now what they do is they'll look up your social media. If you appear to be someone that Deen cannot dominate, they won't bring you up. So I ended up finding out that I was sitting there and it had come to my attention that somebody told him, don't bring him up, because you're not going to be able to clip this guy. As a matter of fact, it's going to go more badly for you. So whenever he comes across Christians in a situation where he's not in control, he will not bring you up on stage. And that was, I kind of really never put that out there like that, because it was like, whatever, that's just kind of hearsay. But then after seeing this video, this was the confirmation that I needed. So I want you guys to check this out. Chris from Speaker's Corner is going to give you his side of this. It's like a 40-some odd minute video. That's pretty much what the stream's going to be. Anybody can join in and talk about whatever you guys want. Yeah, Maverick, notification is still blue dot by your name, like you are not on, supposed to be red dot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, because I did the stream. I scheduled the stream through YouTube like normal, but there's been some weird things going on the last couple of days. So God willing, they fix it up sooner or later.
I mean, something interesting. I want to share a little story. With
please.
Response.
Go ahead.
I saw his channel when he was like still growing. He had like, I think he had like a baby profile picture or something. I don't remember. But I was thinking of actually responding to one of his early videos while he was still in that early stage. I think it was on the one where he talks about Jesus calling the Gentile woman a dog. Right. I was thinking of responding to that, but I ended up not doing it. That would have been nice, like history there, just. But anyways.
Well, that's just one of the many things that him and basically every other Dawa did. They talk about that story, but they won't talk to someone who actually can give them the actual context behind the story or the actual reason why Jesus said what he said. And they will invoke it to say that Jesus was being racist or that he was being mean or that he was being whatever. But then when they come across a Christian who actually will give them the socio-historical context, they'll mute them or boot them or just cut it completely out, right? And you know what? Good news, guys. I ended up finding out. So I ended up getting, before we get started, I ended up getting 3 or 4. I think you were here the other day when I was talking about this, Johnny, where I woke up to like 3 or 4 notifications from YouTube in my Gmail about copyright strikes. And I thought they had copyright struck me for something. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up coming to find out that 2 of my videos had been removed from Muslim channels under fair use. So if for anybody who doesn't know what fair use is, it's essentially when you either A, take someone's video and re-upload it as your own without making any significant changes to it, or B, you take it and you manipulate the footage to make it seem like something happened that didn't happen, right? To be misrepresentative. And that was essentially what both of them did. Brazilian took the video where I pretty much dog walked him, and he changed it all around. And he literally even changed my responses along with Johnny's and Grafted's and put them in different sections of the video to make it seem like we were answering things when we weren't answering that. It was hilarious. I actually saw it because even though it's taken down, if you click on it in YouTube Studio, you can actually see the video. Now, that conversation we had with him was about 15, 16 minutes. His video was only 8 minutes. So he cut out basically anything that we answered. And then a Muslim apologetic, the same thing. He took my video where he spoke to me, the one where he told people supposedly that I conceded the Islamic dilemma under the pretense of conscious edits, and he put his intro in front of it. Now, him, apparently, it was more difficult because I would have seen kind of how that threw them off, because what he did was he just took my video, he zoomed into my face, and then he put like a profile picture of him next to him, and then that was it. So just so you know, guys, if you do that to people, if you take their videos and you rip them and upload them as your own, and the only thing you do is put your intro in front of it, YouTube is going to take you down, especially if you have a YouTube creator who has active copyright and people scanning. Like, I don't care if you take my videos and you re-upload them or you react to them and do whatever, but don't take my stuff and just upload it as your own. Don't do that, because they're going to catch you, whether I report it or not. There's a lot of people in my ministry, a lot of people who love my ministry, and if they see it, they're going to report it, or YouTube is just going to catch it. I'm telling you, I'm warning you right now, don't do it. I don't care. either do it according to YouTube standards or don't do it at all, because it is what it is.
I always ask for permission.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing though. Even if you were to do it, Johnny, you wouldn't get copyrighted because you add in between and at the end, and you're like doing reaction and you're doing your commentary, right? These guys literally just took the video. Brazilian took it and changed it to make it look like he won the debate, which is actually deception. And Muslim Apostle, or whatever the hell his name is, he just took it and literally just re-uploaded it as if it was his own. Literally cut for cut. It was all my work. And all he did was put his little weird little Muslim intro in the beginning with their Arabic music in the front, and that was it. That was the only thing he changed. So,
before we move on, later on like Discord or something, can you show me how you used AI to kind of analyze your discussions? I've been trying to do that. I can't figure it out. But we can.
Absolutely. Yep. As a matter of fact, here, let's do that now. That'll be a good lesson for everybody. I know a lot of people have their qualms with AI, guys. I have found I use AI mainly for two things: to help me title and stuff like that, because I do have a plugin called vidIQ, and basically, literally, AI helps me get high scores for my titles, and therefore, it has a better chance to do well on YouTube. Now, for me, what I do, I even do like this, bro. I'll even show you. I even go to Copilot, right? You can go to this is a free version of Copilot. I don't even use ChatGPT for that. Check it out. Like, look, the debate analysis, argument, like right here, I'll just upload the what you call. Let's see one. Alexander. So like I just dropped the SRT, and I do it in the text format, because here I'll share with you guys a screen. So right here, like if you're using Copilot, right? I dropped in an SRT here. Let me get rid of it to show you guys from the beginning what I did. Oh, I closed it like a fool. Hang on. All right, so drag and drop this is the conversation, right? The SRT, the captions from the video, right? And then right here, I literally just ask who won this exchange. That's it. And then for you in the beginning, guys, I do like this, right? Analyze this exchange between the Christian and the Muslim. Analyze the conversation according to all known knowledge of Christianity and Islam and any other history that pertains to the conversation. No biased answer, just tell me who won on substance, right? This is, I want you guys to all know how to do this. This is because here's the thing: when you go into a conversation as a Christian, you can't be biased, or a Muslim, right? So this is what I do, because an artificial intelligence doesn't give a damn. It's just going to tell you the truth, right? So you see that's literally what I did, right? And I'll read it again. Analyze this exchange between the Christian and the Muslim. Analyze the conversation according to all known knowledge of Christianity and Islam and any other history that pertains to the conversation. No biased answer. Just tell me who won on substance. Does that seem fair to you? Everybody else? Okay. No. So here's what I do. So now it'll analyze on substance alone. The Christian Skylar won this exchange. Here's a rigorous breakdown based on theological, historical, and exegetical standards for the Islamic dilemma. Skylar's central claim is built on Surah 1094 and other Quranic verses that instruct Muhammad and his followers to consult the previous scriptures, the Torah, and the Gospel. He argues that the Quran affirms the Torah and the Gospel as valid sources of guidance. Manuscript evidence shows that the Torah and the Gospel available in Muhammad's time are materially the same as those we have today. And therefore, if Muslims claim those scriptures are corrupted or lost, it creates a dilemma. Allah is telling people to consult corrupted texts, or Allah is telling people to consult lost texts, or Allah is affirming the texts that contradict the Quran. This is a well-known apologetic argument called the Islamic dilemma, and it hinges on the internal consistency of the Quran's claims about prior revelation. Then it tells you right here, look, historical men, and that's why I love this tool, because it's like, it really doesn't give a damn about your feelings. It's going to tell you legitimately who won this argument based on the merits, right? Skylar's appeal to manuscript history is accurate. The Torah and the Gospel manuscripts checked, and this is what I love, guys. This is if there's any Muslims in here right now and they hear this, they're going to lose their minds. The Torah and the Gospel manuscripts available in the 7th century, for example, the Codex Sinaiticus and Codex Vaticanicus, are substantially the same as modern versions. Don't I say that all the time, Johnny? All the time I say that. There's no historical evidence of a separate Injil or gospel given to Jesus that differs from canonical gospels. The Quran never explicitly distinguishes between the original gospel and the canonical gospels. This distinction is a later Islamic theological development. Alexander's rebuttal, who's the Muslim, that the scriptures were changed by man is a common Muslim claim, but it lacks manuscript support. He did not provide textual evidence or historical documentation to substantiate corruption claims. The Quranic exegesis portion of the conversation says Skylar's use of Surah 1094 is methodical. He reads this verse in context, going several verses back. He highlights that the verse instructs Muhammad to consult those who read the previous scriptures. He points out that the verse does not hinge on whether Muhammad was actually in doubt. It is the instruction itself that matters. Alexander attempts to deflect by claiming that the verse is rhetorical and citing a footnote from the clear Quran. However, the rhetorical interpretation is not universally accepted and is not supported by the Quran itself. Citing a footnote is an appeal to a secondary commentary, not the primary text. Skylar rightly challenges this by asking, if the Quran is a detailed explanation of all things, why rely on footnotes? The dynamics for this debate came down to Skylar maintaining focus on the dilemma, uses textual evidence from the Quran and manuscript history, refuses to be derailed by tangents, for example, the Ethiopian Bible or the Apocrypha, and highlights evasions and rhetorical tactics, while Alexander the Muslim repeatedly deflected and interrupted, shifted topics midstream, relies on commentary rather than direct Quranic text, eventually disengages without resolving the dilemma. Verdict on the substance: Skylar's argument, who is a Christian, was internally consistent, historically grounded, Quranically sourced, and logically coherent. Alexander's position, who is the Muslim, theologically common but historically weak, dependent on later Islamic interpretations, unable to resolve the dilemma posed by Surah 1094 and related verses. The conclusion by Microsoft Copilot is that Skylar the Christian wins on substance. And then it says, would you like a timestamp breakdown of the key turning points or a comparative chart of the arguments? No, thank you.
So you basically went to the captions and kind of, oh yeah, because I was trying to do that. I it wasn't letting me. So I don't know if I'm using the wrong browser or.
No, so here, I'm going to give you a link here. I'm going to paste it for you. And basically when you go to this link, save it or bookmark it on your computer. And what happens is you copy and paste the video that you want from YouTube, and then you paste it. Then you go to downsub and you paste it in there, right? So let's say I'm here and I want this video. You see what I'm doing over here on my side? So I copied this video link, and then you go to downsub, and when you go to downsub, you paste it there and you download it. And then when you download it, see right there where it comes up. Then you pick whether you want an SRT or a text. I would say do the text because. Sometimes Copilot says it can't analyze like other versions. Text formatting is very much easier for it to do. So then you would just download it here. And then once you download it here, if you open, you see that's the text that it argues. Yo, thank you for the gifted membership. Ted East, I appreciate it. I can't bring them up today, guys, because the social stream ninja is messing up. I don't know what's going on with the connection, but thank you so much for the gifted membership. Ted East, one of my biggest supporters, man. God bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh yeah, I wish I could bring it up, brother, but I can't. It's not the software for the chat is not working today, and I didn't have enough time to prepare because my hours for work shifted. So I was at work. I left at 7 in the morning. I just got home after 5 p.m. after being stuck in traffic for like 45 minutes. So this is kind of an impromptu. This week and maybe next week will be a little bit easier. But this week for sure is going to be difficult for streams. But I'm still going to get on, hang out, see if people want to talk, do whatever, pray for people. You know what I'm saying? But yes, thank you guys so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. Another thing, if you guys noticed, I'm only doing one stream now. Doing the dual streams is fine, but my latest research, and Johnny, this is for you too. My latest research actually showed that YouTube doesn't reward you for doing 2 streams. As a matter of fact, it will more likely punish you than reward you because it's kind of splitting your attention and it doesn't really know what the difference is. So for the next couple of weeks, guys, I'm just gonna stick to the one stream. And just really focus on that and just use the other PC for recording, which is what it's for anyway. And then we'll go from there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'll never come back to it or I won't go live vertical from my phone and stuff. But it seems like that's more like what they're going for now. Like when I looked at YouTube Shorts live, it wasn't anything like what we're doing. It's more like people just kind of walking around with their phone and chatting like you see on TikTok. And I guess that's kind of what they want more. So then you just grab the file from here, bro, and then you drag it into Copilot. Give it very, very rudimentary instruction so that there's no biased answers at all. And just like what I said here, and be very, listen, guys, you got to be honest with yourselves here. You know what I mean? And don't, because if you manipulate AI, it's going to tell you what you want to hear. That's one thing it's very good at. So don't do that, right? And this is what I said very clearly. Analyze this exchange between the Christian and the Muslim. Analyze the conversation according to all known knowledge of Christianity and Islam and any other history that pertains to the conversation. No biased answer. Just tell me who won on substance, and that's what we got. All right. So having said that, guys, let's go ahead and get back to this where Deen Responds runs away from Chris of Speaker's Corner.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, you're a waste of time.
With the Catholic Encyclopedia.
You're a waste of time.
Wait,
Catholic Encyclopedia.
You're a waste of time.
Dean.
Don't.
You've been
Let's
caught
not
out.
devolve
Dean.
into that.
You've been caught out. I literally Googled it and it referenced.
Oh, and he left.
Did he leave?
Yeah, he left.
Yeah, I think he dropped.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we're going to be covering a really awesome live stream that happened between me and Rob from Sentinel Apologetics and our good friend Deen Responds. Now, Deen Responds has been running for months and months now from any kind of debate on the Islamic dilemma, but I just so happened to be looking across YouTube and I saw that Sentinel Apologetics was streaming, and lo and behold, there was Deen Responds. Not
What was that?
Like the little cartoon looked like he's like looking both ways or something.
Yeah,
make sure no one's following
I
him.
think they do that on purpose because he's cross-eyed or something like that. I think Deen Responds is cross-eyed.
kind of
No, I mean,
debate
like
on the
when it
Islamic
moves.
Yeah.
dilemma, but I just so happened to be looking across YouTube and I saw that Sentinel Apologetics was streaming, and lo and behold, there was Deen Responds. Not only that, but he was giving a presentation on our favorite topic, the most beloved topic there is, the Islamic dilemma.
Before we go on, guys, I don't want to. This is not my video. I am not the author of or creator of this video. This is Chris at Speaker's Corner, an incredible apologist who I want to see get up past 100,000 subs so bad. Go ahead and sub to his channel. He is ridiculous good. He has gone after the likes of Deen Responds, Sneeko. He goes head to head with all these guys, and they cannot stand him. Chris at Speaker's Corner, please subscribe to him. Amazing, amazing Christian apologist and debater.
And he was trying to explain.
Yep.
I have no problem with people do that to me if make me into a cartoon or whatever. Just make sure you have an argument as well.
Right. Right.
Because
right.
obviously Chris, he has an argument. He's just kind of messing around. So just for the record,
Brother Mike says Deen does marathon. You know what? And you would think, you would hope he would, because he's picking up a lot of weight. He's picking up a lot of weight. And you know what's crazy about Deen Responds is when you look him up, his thumbnails always have this. They always have this this picture of him on his thumbnails, which is hilarious. Which is this right here. If you look at his face, you can see how incredibly insecure he is, because this is how he posts himself, and this is how he really looks. Right? This is how he posts himself. This is what he really looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that picture. Look at that picture next to his profile picture. Look at that. Oh, you can't see it, right, Johnny? But here, yeah, you can't. Like, man, you know what?
I actually, I saw it.
Yeah, you that's so. These are the people that we're dealing with. Even with the way that they look, they're disingenuous, right? Because that is not how Deen looks. This was only a couple weeks ago when he was getting scorched up by apostate prophet. So these are the people that we're talking about here, ladies and gents.
By giving a nice presentation, and Rob was just humbly.
It is two different people. It is two different people. We believe.
He was just listening. You know,
We believe.
Rob wasn't engaging. He wasn't arguing. He wasn't debating. He was calmly listening, letting Deen give his own presentation about what that NGO supposedly is.
Right.
So I thought I'd join. And after waiting a while and people saying I should join in the chat, so begins the hilarious long-winded process of Deen trying to not let me on the live stream. He is terrified. Like, watch this clip. Tell me what you think this guy's thinking right now. Does he sound like a man who's confident, or does he sound like a man who wants to get out of there
Logan,
as quickly?
That's a good question. The thing is, Libiano and Deen, they both try to make themselves look like they're chiseled, but they're not. That's what it comes down to. They're not. They're very, very heavy set individuals, and it is what it is. I don't care about that. But you kind of put yourself out there when you make your picture look like one thing, and that's why these guys at Speaker's Corner and David Wood and them started calling Libiano Orthodox duck lips, because he tried to put this picture of himself where his like face looks real skinny and his like lips are puffed out, and it was like, why are you posing like a female for your profile picture? It doesn't even make any sense.
As possible. Let's watch this.
Yeah. So
Chris, I noticed Chris wants to join. Would you like him to come up?
I mean, yeah.
said
So
good.
what we can do with Chris is after I finish the whole presentation and you do your whole questions and back and forth, if we can get a debate on the Islamic dilemma as well as a debate
Yeah,
on
Jax, for real.
what I would like to present on the Christian dilemma, then I would love to speak to Chris. If we can get those
Christian
formal
dilemma.
debates going. But for you, I don't mind in
So, guys, the Christian dilemma is something that it's another smokescreen that Muslims made up to try to deflect from the Islamic dilemma. And essentially, what they're saying is that because Jesus affirmed the Old Testament, it doesn't make any sense because we basically don't follow the old covenantal laws anymore. Here's the problem with that. Hebrews 8:13 makes it clear that those covenantal laws were all pointing at Jesus. And when Jesus died for us and he reintegrated not only the children of Israel, but Gentiles into the fold as well, those ceremonial and dietary laws were for Israelites thousands of years ago to distinguish themselves as children of Yahweh and distinguish themselves from the nations that surrounded them. But after Jesus died and integrated those nations and Gentiles surrounding them, Greek and Roman and everyone else, those laws, ceremonial and otherwise, did no longer made any sense and were abolished by the Messiah who fulfilled those prophecies, which is made clear in the book of Hebrews. So that dilemma that they're saying is a dilemma just goes to show that they know nothing about messianic prophecy or Jesus Christ, or basically even what the Bible says for that matter. But again, this is called standard smokescreen Muslim apologetics. Johnny, go ahead and elaborate on that, brother.
Yeah, Christian dilemma. My goodness, I've heard it a few times, and I think the way you presented it is the main way, because I saw another Muslim apologist, Fauzi Dawa, but the way he presented it was just basically making up Bible contradictions and Bible errors. So basically, when they say that the New Testament or Jesus affirms the Old Testament, it's like its own version of the Islamic dilemma, but for Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, in the epistles, it points out Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament, especially in Hebrews. But we don't even we can use Jesus' words if they want to play the game of, oh, well, that's Paul. Right? When Jesus says, I came not to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. Yes. What does that mean? Fulfill the law. Correct. Right? He's not just of the prophets, right? When he fulfills the prophets, it means that prophecy is no longer in effect. Mm-hmm. Is the fulfillment, right? So if there's a guy that's like, for example, Isaiah 42, the servant's supposed to come, Jesus comes, prophecy is no longer in effect. Yep. The law has a purpose, points to Christ. Christ fulfills the purpose. Yep. That law is no longer in effect. Yep. And so so essentially when you see Jesus contradicting the Old Testament, it's because he's fulfilled the Old Testament. Right.
The annoying troll says that Deen has refuted the Islamic dilemma 100 times. The fact of the matter, the fact that you actually believe that is not surprising to anybody in here, because you don't even remotely understand that it's a paradox that cannot be solved, right? And fulfill does not mean change. You're absolutely right. That's exactly the point that apparently Muslims are not intelligent enough to grasp. That fulfillment means that they are fulfilled, which means that they are no longer obligatory. And I know that truth and actual words and their meanings are fallacious to Muslims, but in the real world, in the regular world where people can understand and comprehend things like that, you would understand that the only reason you guys even started talking about a supposed Christian dilemma, and you guys can't even agree on what that is because you're so desperate to pretend like the Islamic dilemma doesn't exist. And then on top of that, you're saying Deen refuted it. Well, you tell me in what here. This is what I'll do for you, the annoying troll. I want you to tell me in what debate or what video Deen Responds refuted the Islamic dilemma. I want you to tell me what to search on YouTube, and I will download the transcript and I will run it through Copilot the same way that I did the other debate, and I will do it in front of you to make sure that there's no biased answer, and we will see if he did what it is that you're claiming that he did. Right? So,
yeah, so when I say fulfill,
and if you think and annoying troll, if you think that you got the answers, call into the show. Stop typing out in the chat for one. Stop being a coward and call into the show. crossunit.net/call. It's not like you don't see it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, it's fine. So when I say fulfill, I don't mean change in the sense of getting rid of something and replacing it.
Right.
When I say fulfill, like I just said, like fulfilling prophecy. So a prophecy says the servants to come, like Isaiah 42, Isaiah 49, Isaiah 53. Then the servant comes. That prophecy is fulfilled, so it's no longer in effect.
Mm-hmm.
So the law is no longer in effect, not because Jesus changed it, but because he fulfilled it.
Yep.
The requirement of eating whatever, ceremonial practices, this is fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what about that implies change. If so,
Well, you got to remember, Johnny. With many Muslims, words don't mean words, right? They hear what they want to hear. This is the same guy who's literally here saying that Deen refuted the Islamic dilemma. I'm still waiting for him to tell me what video to search up so we can see where he refuted the Islamic dilemma. I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Giving my presentation.
No,
like
he don't know Houston because he's
Give it. Okay. Would you like Chris to come up? I can send him the link and he can come up here, or just.
I mean, yeah, he can. But if I want to discuss with him, I would want to discuss in a debate format. And you don't want this to be a debate format between me and you, right?
No, I mean, I'll actually tell Chris, this is a discussion. If he comes up, I mean, he's asked to come up. I'm not. This is sort of all impromptu. If he can model the type of discourse we're having right now,
if we can. So what we can do is we can finish the presentation. You can ask whatever you need to ask.
Guys, make sure you like the stream, please. Make sure you like the stream right now. We are at, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just realized somebody said like the stream, and thank you so much for the reminder. Right now, we are at, let's see, we're at 28 likes, guys, and we got almost 50 people watching, so please go ahead and hit that like button, smash that like button, share the stream, click the bell for event notifications, hit the sub button already if you haven't. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers, guys. That's been my goal for a long time. Please help me with the goal, please.
You can invite Chris up, and we can discuss organizing a debate on the Islamic dilemma on the condition that we debate the Christian dilemma, because I think that Christians do have a real dilemma.
When he
where,
gets
the New Testament confirms the Old Testament. However,
when he gets nervous, that's how he starts talking. When he's getting slammed in a debate by a Christian, which is pretty much all of them, that's how he starts talking. His mouth moves very differently when he's doing a video because nobody's challenging him. That's what it is. I don't think
they have real continuity, and they cannot appeal to the fact that the Old Testament is corrupted because you guys don't believe the Old Testament is corrupted, right?
All right.
So, if we can get that discussion going, then I would love to also get a debate with Chris. So, you could invite him at the end.
I'll put the join link. I'll put the join link, and then I'll just keep him.
Yeah, just keep him on the backstage, and then at the end we can discuss organizing that formal debate. Hopefully.
Okay.
So the Quran doesn't envision this for you.
What was that, Johnny? Go ahead.
Yeah, he appealed to the fact saying that we can't appeal to the Old Testament being corrupted, but that's as far as I know, that's not really a great answer to the Islamic dilemma itself.
It's not an answer at all. It's not an answer at all because first of all, your Quran makes it clear that the Torah was given to Moses, right? So if we're talking about corruption of the Torah, we have discoveries as recent as the late 1940s where the Dead Sea Scrolls revealed that the manuscripts and what they said for the Old Testament are still exactly what they said and what we've had from the beginning, right? The Dead Sea Scrolls had manuscripts for every single book except the book of Esther. And every single one of them had the same things in them that our manuscripts have today. So here's my thing. Not only is the corruption accusation completely false, which is grossly ironic coming from a Muslim, considering the history of the Quran, right? But we won't even get into that because it's not even necessary. My thing is, even if you could prove biblical corruption, you lose either way, right? You can't prove it, but even if you could, the Quran is still false. That's what it really comes down to, and that's why when people like annoying trolls say, "Oh, he's refuted it 100 times," win, because if he'd refuted it 100 times, he'd be your top dawah in the world, but he hasn't done it once.
The Injil. So
just FYI, Chris is at the back. Let me know when to bring him up. I can bring.
Yeah, so just whenever I'm done like presenting and you're done with your questioning, or we can speak to him about formulating the debate, the time for the debate on the Islamic dilemma and the time for the debate on the Christian dilemma, right?
Sure.
But yeah, so let's try to finish this with your questioning.
Over and over again, Deen keeps saying, it's like the most politician way ever. Yes, I'd be happy to have a chat with Chris, just only about the Christian dilemma, not the Islamic dilemma. I don't want him to give any commentary on this presentation, and I only want to debate him later. Let's debate about having a debate. And I was just sitting here like, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun tonight. It's gonna be glorious. So eventually I do it, get up.
So that's pretty much it for the most part the intertexts that I could show you. What the Quran
which is
uses,
quite extensive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intertextual links.
Okay, so yeah, just for a bit of context, this is about the letter to Iraq.
Sorry.
You're good.
That's all
Hi
right.
guys, how you both doing? I can't remember how long it is. It was a few hours, like 2 hours maybe. But we have this discussion, and there's a lot to cover in it, and a lot of things that Deen messed up on that I think are gold, and really big red flags to Muslims as well. So I'm gonna break this up into parts, because doing everything in one video would make the video over an hour long if I really wanted to go through everything that he did that he messed up on. But he messed up big time. So in this clip, I'm just going to show one thing, and then I'll make other videos where I show other things, and I'll also post, probably before this video, the actual full debate. Hopefully Rob doesn't mind me doing that, because I want as many people as possible to watch it. Assuming I remember in the future, you should be able to click the link up here to access that video of the full debate. But this video is just going to show one particular aspect. Deen really wanted to not talk about the Islamic dilemma. In fact, his own video that he posted to summarize this interaction, I guess you could call it an interaction, he actually doesn't even cover any of his own stuff, which was the entire reason he was there to begin with. So he just cuts that out. He's basically like, actually, I don't want to show the Muslims what I really think about the Injil and how there's wahi contained in the Injil. I don't want any Muslim to know I think that. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to have a much shorter video, which is just the highlights from his argument he makes to me that supposedly I'm heretical because I believe that Christ has two natures, one divine and one fully human. He thinks this is heretical according to the Catholic and Eastern Orthodox Church. I don't know why he didn't throw in Protestant churches in there as well. He may as well have just said everyone thinks that's heretical, but he just mentioned those. This is going to be hilarious because he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. But let's
say that again.
And I think he's confusing the Oriental Orthodox and the Eastern Catholics. Maybe I'm forgetting other groups, but some groups hold to
he does.
Yeah, they hold to one composite nature.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll try my best to articulate it, but honestly, I don't even understand that whole view. But essentially, they'll say that Christ's nature were fused, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how it works out.
Yeah.
I don't adopt it because when I read the text, like for example, John 1,
Mm-hmm.
the way it describes it, I can't like understand it properly if I have a one nature hermeneutic.
Right.
So you have the logos, the word that is eternally divine,
right,
and then all of a sudden he becomes flesh. So you have this eternal aspect, then this beginning aspect, right? Because in the Greek, became flesh, right? So it when you fit it together, it's I don't know. It's a little,
I simplify it a lot more than that, Johnny. Here's the thing. If you've noticed, I don't get into the conversations too much, especially with Muslims when it comes to things like the hypostatic properties and stuff like that, for one very simple reason. You want to sit here and you want to pretend like you can set up syllogisms, right? And like you can set it up logically to try to present to the world why Jesus could not be fully God and fully man, right? They think they have that figured out. But then when you ask them what the Trinity is to begin with, they show the world that they don't even understand what the Trinity is because they believe that we believe that the Trinity is three gods. But there's no Christian who actually truly believes in the Trinity, who actually believes that the Trinity is three gods. We've always believed that the Trinity is one God, right? But because in their mind, the numbers don't compute, that's where 1 Corinthians 2:14 comes into effect. They can't understand because they are spiritually blind. They don't get it. And they can't get it. So why am I going to waste my time discussing hypostatic properties with you when people like Lesbiano are saying things like a person is a rock or Jesus is Yahweh in the lesser sense? You see what I'm saying? That kind of stupidity you can't fix. and you want me to discuss philosophy with you about hypostatic properties and other things, but you don't even understand the most remote basis and foundation of what the Trinity is to begin with. So you think that your attempt at discussing what logic is and setting it up as a syllogism is, but you have no way to show the world in any way, shape, form, or fashion that Jesus could not be God and fully man at the same time, right? Any way, then you cannot. How could you possibly explain that? Oh, well, it's like having a square circle according to your illogic, right? Because in a real world, I've shown many times that nobody has ever said that Jesus was trying to be two shapes at one time. Everybody has always said, who knows what the Trinity truly is and understands the deity of Jesus Christ, that Jesus is not a square circle. Right? Jesus is the same as a circle existing inside of a square simultaneously, and both of those shapes are retaining their nature, and both are existing within one another and not conflicting with one another. Very simple. But you want to set up a syllogism and you want to talk about hypostatic properties and you want to talk about the philosophy of it when you don't even understand it to begin with. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it really comes down to.
Let's watch. But regarding what you said about Christians and Jews being able just to stick to their works, I'm agnostic about what happens after this, after the Quran is revealed. But beforehand, they were bound to it. And this, for me, opens up a whole can of worms, because if we are to think that the Quran is saying that the previous scriptures are generally reliable, because they point...
Real quick, Brother Mike, can you call into the show and tell me what's going on with Sister Grace? Because I kind of missed it, and I was having a good discussion with... Johnny, if you could just let me know what's going on with that, thank you.
Point enough to Islam as to give presumably salvation to the Christians and Jews. Then when we look at what they had historically, this seems to be problematic, because it seems as if those texts, like the Injil, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, it looks as if those texts actually would not save you, particularly the Injil. The Injil, from an Islamic paradigm, you would end up committing shirk, even if it's even if it's a lesser form of shirk,
because of the deity stuff.
But we
don't grant that interpretation of deity.
Let's take a weaker form of it. Even if it's just Jesus is not merely a prophet, that would be problematic enough, right? Like
what do you mean? You're being very it's ambiguous. What do you mean? So
for example, Jesus says, I believe in the Gospel of John, that he came down from heaven. So,
there's good probable interpretations about that. The same way that in James it talks about things coming from heaven, but it doesn't necessarily.
Johnny, if you need me to pause at any point, just say pause. I have no problem with that.
Actually, this is the perfect time to pause it.
Good.
Yep. So in John 16, this is a great example how you can't understand this part where Jesus says, "Come down from heaven," any other way than literally. And I think it's in verse 28. Let me just double check. Let's see. Yep, John 16:28. So it says, "I came forth from the Father and have come into the world. Again, I leave the world and go to the Father." Now here's the issue. Jesus literally went up to the Father, right? He ascended. He ascended from earth to heaven. So why, according to this verse, why would you interpret the first part symbolically as him coming down symbolically, but then the second part, that's literal?
Right.
That's an inconsistent interpretation.
Yeah. Yep. Amen. Yeah. Johnny, do me a favor when you get a chance, paste your channel link into the private chat every single time. Now, here's my thing. I'm sub to you and I can never find your channel, and I don't know why. Like, I know your channel name. I've been sub to you for weeks and I can never find your channel. What up, Brother Mike?
Okay, so what was going on was that there's an impersonation of Zara in chat.
I figured.
And they were probably saying a bunch of rude things in chat, and someone saw that Zara was saying, I guess, rude things in chat. I guess from yesterday's stream when I was not there. So they are basically making an impersonating channel to make Zara look bad, and I'm basically just saying, like, okay, I keep an eye on everybody, what they say, what is written, and if it's basically inappropriate, if it's insulting to other people in the chat or on the call or whatever, I usually basically try to delete the messages so nobody gets to see it, and it's basically taken away. But yeah, like I said, that's all I know, and I'm like, yeah, I know who Zara was because I remember. Not yesterday's, but a couple days ago, I seen her in chat, and I basically was like, okay, I've never seen anything problem with her.
Right.
in the chat prior. So it's just like I try to keep an eye on everybody, remembering.
No, yeah, you do a good job.
Names. And so it's like, if someone says like it's to a concern, I'm like, okay, I'll keep an eye on. And then someone basically noted that in Zara's profile is a different writing because they do it identical but change like one letter or something like that.
They did that to me the other day. People started going into I don't remember where. They created a fake channel under my name, and then they started asking people for donations. But then people started figuring out that it was like 2 E's in Brother Maverick or whatever. And then I reported it, and I think they took the channel down. But yeah, I figured too, because Grace has never said anything even remotely disrespectful. But then she said something that was very illuminating and educational that I didn't know about her. It was that she says, I know it's difficult for them to accept that I'm an ex-Muslim and a Christian woman. That's so obviously some Dawa dud probably figured that out, or she told them that, and then they go out of their way to try to make trouble for them because that's all they can do. But all right, Brother Mike, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, brother.
All right, talk to you soon, bro. All right, let's get back to the video, ladies and gents.
Like come literally from heaven. So there's Unitarian plausible interpretations.
Unitarian would agree with that.
That Jesus literally came down from heaven and pre-existed.
Well, yeah, Unitarian.
Unitarian
there's two types of Unitarians.
What's
one
the
that so there's two.
I'm confused why Deen is here. It's impossible to be a Unitarian and be Christian. You guys do understand that, right? You can be a Unitarian and call yourself a Christian all you want. It doesn't matter. It would be the same as if I were to tell Deen, okay, well then a Shia Muslim is every bit as Muslim as you, right? He would have a huge problem with that. The issue with that more than anything is that at least Shia and Sunni both look at Muhammad as a messenger. In Christianity, how the hell do you call yourself a Christian if you don't believe that Jesus Christ is God? The base word, ladies and gentlemen, of Christian or Christianity is Christ. If you do not believe in Christ as God, you cannot be a Christian. If you're a Unitarian, that makes you Jewish or something else, but it does not make you Christian, ladies and gents. Let's make that clear. Unitarians are not Christians. Mormons are not Christians. Anyone who denies the deity of the Messiah is not a Christian. How can you deny someone and the entire religion that's based on them and then still align yourself with that? It makes absolutely no sense. Unitarians are no more Christian than Buddhists are. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think what he's trying to do, because they got into the topic of, for example, the Gospels presenting Jesus as divine, like when it says he comes down from heaven, and then I guess Deen is trying to make a Unitarian interpretation of these passages. But I mean, we can walk through these and you can see how they're not going to work.
Yeah, he's so bad. He is so bad at this.
Types. I want to tell you, one type they believe Jesus pre-existed, another in a real sense. The other one, they don't believe he existed in a real sense. It's merely in a notional sense, where maybe you could say in God's mind or whatever, stuff that's compatible with Islam, essentially, that he doesn't literally pre-exist, right? So that sort of Unitarian interpretation, they give plausible cases for stuff like what you just...
Unitarianism would take John 1:1 and say that Jesus is a God. They would translate it differently. And they would say that what that is meant
when you say Unitarian, Chris, that's not a whole set...
I'm talking about areas. I'm talking like the earliest...
But I don't... Again, they're not homogeneous, right? When you say Unitarian, I'm referring to... because you're equivocating on it. I'm referring to those that don't grant pre-existence. That is compatible with Islam, obviously, right?
Pre-existence meaning he isn't just a human, right?
Yeah, like he literally pre-existed.
I've never met a Unitarian that thought that Jesus...
Search it up, bro.
Had some kind of existence. I mean, how would you read the Gospel of John?
Rob.
As far as I'm concerned, I've never come across... I'll be honest with you, Deen. I've never come across a Unitarian... Yeah, I know a few Unitarian academics in Jehovah's Witness circles.
So Dean's first... So let's follow this along, right? We're talking about Islamic dilemma, which is the thing that I wanted to talk to him about.
Because there are Unitarians that reject the pre-existence. They're going to be called Socinians. I mean, there's one on Discord, I know, right? And then the Deen is taking it as him equivocating.
Right.
They're kind of miscommunicating. I think Chris could kind of... Maybe he doesn't know, so... fine, and then Deen is taking it as him trying to equivocate. So there's a little bit of miscommunication going on.
Yeah, but Dean does it on purpose, though. You do know that, right? Like he will try to use whatever debate terminology he can in order to try to squirm out of whatever it is that is being discussed. He's very, very good at that, and he's all that is one thing that most Muslim apologists are good at. Claudio, can I ask you a question? Yes, you can ask me a question. Go ahead, Claudio. If you want to call into the show, go ahead, brother. You don't got to show your face. But I would rather you guys call in. If you have questions, I'm getting back to where now anybody's welcome to call in. So please call in. If you want to call in, call in. Do not hesitate to call in, please.
To begin with, it's his presentation I wanted to give comments on, and I was doing so in as respectful manner as I could possibly muster. Dean, however, is terrified of any kind of interaction between us because he knows he's not going to have any answers. So when I start to push him, he starts to make weird claims about things, and it gets good here. Dean says that regarding the statements in the Gospels where Jesus is said to be more than a prophet, so I even clarify, I'm not even saying God, I'm just saying he's more than a prophet, and that's enough to be against what the Quran says Jesus is, and hence it shows a contradiction between the Quran and the Injil. His response is to basically go as far forward as he can in history, not to go to the earliest Unitarians, Arius, for example, at the Council of Nicaea. He doesn't go to these heretical groups that are not Christian, but he's going to insist they are, because why not? That's like me saying Ahmadiyya is a Muslim, by the way, Dean. So he's going to go...
You know who tried to do that to me the other day? Central Dawa. He was talking to me on TikTok. And we actually had, believe it or not, we had a very respectful conversation, but he wasn't appealing to the... I always forget the name of this group, man. They were a heretical group in the beginning as well, who were also saying that Jesus was not crucified, but because the Gnostics, right? He was trying to appeal to a very small group of Gnostics who never believed that Jesus was actually in physical form to begin with, and therefore wasn't crucified. That was his attempt at trying to say, well, there are people who also agree with the Quran that Jesus was not crucified. I said, okay, so from the very beginning, you're taking a fringe group of people whose entire belief system is fringe to begin with, right? Because you're talking about a group of people who thought that everything flesh was evil, and therefore Jesus never existed in flesh. The problem with you is that regardless of what that singular fringe group of people thought, that's not what all of history and antiquity says, right? And even agnostics and atheists, right? But make it clear, there's nothing more certain in antiquity than the existence of Jesus Christ and his crucifixion. So when people, I remember Bart Ehrman did a video one time making it clear. He was like, listen, you guys in these schools, you guys got to get out of this bubble about this Jesus mythicism, because this isn't working. Once you guys get out of your little groups, you're going to see that there's nothing more certain than the fact that Jesus definitely existed, right? So yeah, it's crazy the lengths that these people will go to connect their disjointed ideas of correlation. It's crazy.
So he's going to go to Unitarians, but he's not going to go to the earliest ones, closest to the time of Isa, which you think he would, because he knows full well those kind of Unitarians are also not compatible with Islam. The earliest Unitarians were those who pushed back on Trinitarian doctrine. They did so with the understanding not that Jesus was just a mere prophet, but the understanding that Jesus was not consubstantial with the Father. And that's where they differed over the Nicene Creed, and they couldn't accept that creed because they didn't think they were the same nature. But that means that they still think that Jesus is pre-existent in a real sense, elevated above any other human and angel, in a very close and personal relationship with the Father. These are things that Arius would have believed, as well as being responsible for all of creation. Deen can't go to that because he knows that's not Islamic, and that's shirk, and that shows that the Quran contradicts the Injil, and hence the Islamic dilemma passes and Islam is false. He knows that. So he brings up the most obscure modern interpretation of Unitarianism he possibly can. And I'm not talking about Jehovah's Witnesses. He's not talking about Oneness Pentecostal. He's talking about some very particular form of Unitarianism that has no historical roots whatsoever. He's basically taking an interpretation that has no basis in ancient history. It just wasn't there. The early Christians didn't think anything like the Unitarianism today. Muslims, because remember, Deen believes these guys were Muslims somehow. The Muslims at the time of Isa did not believe Unitarianism. They didn't. There's no evidence of it. He has to appeal to extreme, non-Christian, modern interpretations that weren't even around at the time of Muhammad. I found this hilarious, and I was so confused that he genuinely thought that was a good point. And me and Rob were just looking at him like, what do you want about? Like, why are you bringing, like, it's not even Unitarians, you're bringing the disregarded rut litter of the Unitarians that no one takes seriously and isn't a part of the Christian tradition, and you're thinking that's a good hill to die on. Brilliant. Love it. Now let's watch this clip from the Gospel of John chapter 16, where I show him that Jesus is said by the disciples to know all things. Let's read from the verse before. Jesus' disciples said, well, now you're speaking plainly and not using figurative language. So we're speaking plainly in a literal sense, not figuratively. Now we know that you know everything and do not need to have anyone ask you any questions. Because of this, we believe that you have come from God. And then Jesus affirms this, that he does indeed know all things. So Jesus knows all things according to John chapter 16. This is just one out of many, many examples. Is that not a form of shirk from the Islamic perspective?
No.
Why?
No. Because the intention here is that that this is an idiom, similar to how a woman told David in the Old Testament that now we know that you know everything on earth. This is this is hyperbole. This isn't literal. Now, how do we know this is hyperbole? Because we have explicit verses where Jesus says he doesn't know stuff. He says in Mark 13:32 and Matthew 24:36 that he does not know the hour. So we know contextually, and we know from the Old Testament passage
right. So
that this is hyperbole.
Okay, so there are more verses that say he knows everything than that say he doesn't know everything. You've quoted the same verse, basically paralleled in the Synoptic Gospels in Matthew and Mark. There's another one.
How many times does it say that he knows everything? How many times?
More than two, for example. But you're only quoting one verse.
Where besides here?
This one, John 21 is another example, and elsewhere. Now, why I'm bringing this
John
up,
21? I don't know.
Wait. What I'm saying is, in this one in particular, right, that we're going on screen, in John 29, it says that Jesus is said to be speaking plainly, not figuratively.
Yeah.
So to say he's using an idiom makes no sense because he's talking.
Jesus isn't using an idiom. He's not using an idiom.
You just said he was using an idiom.
His disciples are using an. You can't even read the text, bro. His disciples are using the idiom. We now know that you're speaking clearly.
Yes. Who's speaking clearly?
Now, and I want to interrupt Dean Bat response here for a second, guys, because I want to make something abundantly clear that I know even a lot of Christians don't know. I'm pretty sure Johnny knows that, right? And when you guys when we look at the original Greek manuscripts of that conversation between Jesus, the word that was utilized by Jesus was oide. And the reason that that's important is because Muslims will try to say that he was saying he doesn't know. But if you actually look up what oide means, it can mean, actually the way that it was used in that context was, for oide was that he was not going to make it known, or he was not going to reveal it, or it was not going to be permitted to be disclosed, right? So the way that it's translated in English, sure, it's easy to look at it and say, okay, well, Jesus simply didn't know. But that's not what he was saying. He was making it clear to the disciples that he was not going to make it known to them. And if you look at the Greek manuscripts, look, the guys, they're online. Look it up for yourselves, and then look at the lexicons and look at what it means. The word oide means that he was not going to make it known. It was not Jesus claiming ignorance, basically. And if you think about that, Jesus had similar conversations with people. When the apostles asked him, when the disciples asked him how many people would enter the kingdom of heaven, and he said, do not concern yourself with the number of people that will enter the kingdom of my Father, for the road to destruction is broad and many are on it. He could have easily told him, yes, you're all going to be there. No, but he didn't. He said, do not concern yourself with it. He was having the same sort of conversation where people were asking him about the hour. But no, people like Deen will try to willingly misrepresent that and say he didn't know, because they know that enough people are going to be willingly ignorant to not actually look up what was actually said. And the Greek word that was utilized was not talking about ignorance. It was talking about permission to reveal the information, which Jesus made clear he was not going to do.
We know everything. And to add to that, if you go to Acts chapter 1, verses 6 to 7, the disciples are asking Jesus, what will you at this time restore the kingdom? And he tells you, it's not for you to know the times and seasons that are in my Father's authority.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And
also that phraseology where you see no, it's used of God in a metaphorical sense. For example, Deuteronomy 8:3 it says that God tested you to know what was in your heart, which doesn't mean that he didn't know. It's a metaphorical way to use the word know, as in to make you know, to make
Correct.
it reveal,
To make known. Yes. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, the Greek word oide actually fits perfectly when Jesus was talking to his disciples. It is not about Jesus lacking divine omniscience. All you have to do is look at the original word. Don't take my word for it if you don't want to. Look at the Greek lexicon and look at it for yourself and read the whole thing in context, right? It was about the Father not making the hour a matter for disclosure to the disciples. That's all it was. That's literally all it was. And at the end of it, think about it, guys. How many times do parents talk to their kids? How many times have you told your children, don't worry about it? You don't need to worry about it. You do what you got to do. Let me worry about everything else, right? That was literally Jesus saying essentially the same thing, just in a very much more diplomatic and loving way, and a much smoother way, right? So,
and
who's speaking clearly?
Any questions? This is hyperbole. Jesus is going to stop using figurative language. That doesn't mean that they aren't going to stop speaking literally. That they're going to keep.
No, he has stopped speaking. This is saying you have done this.
Okay, so who said? Now we know that you know everything. Who said that?
Now we know that you know everything. That's in
Who
verse
said that?
29. That's the disciple.
Okay, so again, that can't even be possibly part of the Injil. That's the disciple speaking. That's one.
There you are.
So
you do accept that actually this isn't compatible with Islam.
Two.
Dean says that it's just an idiom. It's an expression. It's not meant to be taken as in a literal sense. Despite the fact that the very passage on the screen shows that the disciples themselves said that Jesus had spoken plainly to them and not figuratively. So how on earth could it be an idiom if the disciples are telling you, Jesus, you're now speaking to us plainly and we understand you, we know that you know all things and that you have come from God. The levels of the barrel that Dean is trying to reach is unfathomable. He wants to reach the very bottom layers because he has nothing left. He knows this isn't compatible with Islam. He knows this isn't appropriate language from an Islamic perspective for a prophet to speak. Yet he believes that these are the words of Jesus. He believes that Isa in the Quran actually said these words, like just a few verses before this, where Jesus says that all that belongs to the Father is mine. Jesus said that in the recorded Injil, which Dean supposedly believes in. But he has to do gymnastics and mental aerobics. Forget Pilates, forget yoga. This is next level stuff. He's trying to do somersaults and backflips over and over again to try and reconcile the Islamic Quran with the supposed Islamic Injil from his perspective. They don't work, they contradict, it's a mess. The Quran is an error. And in the end, he has to go to his actual real opinion anyway, which is, yeah, this, what you've quoted here is the disciple speaking, not Jesus. Therefore, it's not part of the Injil, which is his cop-out view anyway, which is the very thing I challenged him on, and I'll cover that in a different video. But he has absolutely nowhere to run, and it's hilarious watching him run in circles. In this bit, he goes on a tangent, derails the conversation, and goes into full-on Dean not understanding basic Christian concepts. Let's watch. Very simple. Christ through, again, John chapter 1, very basic. Explains the incarnation. He is both in an incarnate state through his humanity and his divinity. John chapter 1.
Okay.
Read verse 1 to 3 and then verse 14.
That he mentioned, where supposedly somebody says to David, you know, everything that's in the earth. I cannot find it. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Dean? Did he say that?
Yeah.
Let's
he
go
said
back
it
to
earlier. I've been trying to look for it for the past 5 minutes now.
Before this, where Isa in the peak, yet he believes that these are the words of Jesus. He believes that Isa in the Quran actually said these words, like just a few verses before this, where Jesus says that all that belongs to the Father is.
Dean says this. Let me see. Let me see if I can do a reverse image settle. Oh, it says in John 16:15.
Mayan. Jesus said that in the recorded Injil, which Dean supposedly believes in. But he has to do gymnastics and mental aerobics. Forget Pilates, forget yoga.
Did you find it?
I can't find. I'm finding examples of people saying things like, you know, that he's as wise as an angel of God or things like that. But I can't find anything to the extent that that Deen said.
I got it right here. John 16:15. All that the Father has is mine. Therefore, I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you.
Yeah, so there's that, but
What did Deen say that you're talking about? Maybe.
he said something about David, that a woman told David that you know everything that's in the earth. I'm trying to find it. I'm completely just.
Yeah, there's no verse in the Bible that says that. What they might be butchering is 2 Samuel 14. That's the chapter where Joab sends a wise woman from Tekoa to speak to David with a parable. So he'd bring Absalom back. She didn't tell him everything on earth. She was using a story to appeal to David's sense of justice. Later in verse 20, she admits Joab told her what to say. So she wasn't claiming divine knowledge. She was repeating instructions. Yeah, I don't know. Bro, it's Deen responds. I'm lucky. You're lucky it's even that close to what it says, honestly.
His next level stuff. He's trying to do somersaults and backflips over and over again.
And that's probably why Chris is saying what he's saying right now, because he has no idea what he's talking about.
And reconcile the Islamic Quran with the supposed Islamic Injil from his perspective. They don't work. They contradict. It's a mess. The Quran is an error. And in the end, he has to go to his actual real opinion anyway, which is, yeah, this what you quoted here is the disciple speaking, not Jesus. Therefore, it's not part of the Injil, which is his cop-out view anyway, which is the very thing I challenged him on, and I'll cover that in a different video. But he has absolutely nowhere to run, and it's hilarious watching him run in circles. In this bit, he goes on a tangent, derails the conversation, and goes into full-on Deen not understanding basic Christian concepts. Let's watch. Very simple. Christ through, again, John chapter 1, very basic. It explains the incarnation. He is both in an incarnate state through his humanity and his divinity. John chapter 1.
Okay.
Read verses 1 to 3 and then verse 14.
Okay. So Jesus didn't know in his human nature, yeah?
Jesus didn't what, sorry?
He didn't know in his human nature?
I didn't know.
Be happy. I read that out, but he wasn't even remotely right about what he said about it. That's the problem. He doesn't even know what 2 Samuel 14 says. That's what I just read. Me and Johnny were talking about that. Johnny and I, rather.
It's human nature, yeah.
So first of all, that's heretical according to both Eastern Orthodox and Catholics, because you're splitting Jesus into. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. No.
You know what the agnoete is? Do you know what the agnoete is?
Wait. You're going to say that.
Do you know what the agnoete is?
Ignorance.
Chris, is he not like non-denominational Protestant or something?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you, brother. I'm the wrong person to ask, like, who is what denomination, because you know how I feel about denominations anyway. So it doesn't, like, for me, I don't even bother looking because it's inconsequential. So I'm not sure what he is. And even if he was one of those denominations or not, Deen's argument is ridiculous on its face. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're going to go up to a Protestant and tell them, oh, you know, the Catholics and Orthodox think you're a heretic or wrong on this, okay. And then the person you're talking to also thinks they're wrong. Like,
right.
You can't argue like that.
Right. No, but that's what they do. That's what they do. I mean, how many times have you been here where you've heard Muslims say to me, well, according to Catholicism.com, blah, 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 like, what? You know what I mean? That's if they're taught to argue that way, that's what they're going to try to do, especially if they think it's worked in the past.
Right. I'm not saying Christ is ignorant.
So, I mean, if you're going to critique a Roman Catholic who's answering the arguments from a Roman Catholic perspective, and you're going to tell them that their answers are heretical according to their own church, fine. But I personally don't hold to everything the Roman Catholic Church teaches. Correct. So you can't impose that on me. And that's not to say anything against Roman Catholics. I don't care to go down that route.
Right.
But that's you can't do that to someone that doesn't hold to the Roman Catholic or Eastern Orthodox position.
Well, what they want to do is they want to take the Christians and they want to put your back up against the wall, and they want you to they want you to be able to defend every single interpretation and church tradition as opposed to actually focusing on what the scripture actually says, right? Because if you're focusing on what the scripture actually says, then they have no leg to stand on. And Muslims know that. So they have to try to get you to refocus, which is why he's getting pissed, because Chris is not allowing the tangent, right? The tangent argument, which 99% of Muslims, they love to do. That's what they're big fans of doing.
You just said he doesn't know in his human nature.
Yeah, but he knows in his divine nature, so he still
I know
knows.
that's heretical.
No,
Rob,
no.
Rob, do you
to
know-
say
you
that,
know
to
what
say
I'm
that,
saying,
no, no.
Rob?
No.
To say that Christ is ignorant is not
Yes.
something I'm saying. I'm saying
know,
that
Chris,
Christ,
I know.
via
Trust
his
me, trust me, I know.
humanity, does not know something.
I know that.
Deen,
I know that.
Deen,
And I'm telling you that's heretical.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do some nice theology. The basic position of the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church, as well as the majority of Protestant churches, is that Christ had two natures. We are duophysites, which I bring up in this video. He is one person, but with two natures. One human nature and one divine nature. We all say that in his divine nature, he knew all things and was omniscient. We say in his human nature, he experienced and learned new things because that is proper to be human. This way, although Christ does not know things in his human nature, he still knows all things through his divine nature. And so the one person that is Christ is not ignorant of anything and knows all things. Deen doesn't get this and confuses monophysites, which are people that think that Christ only had one nature. He accidentally thinks, because he hasn't studied this, that if a monophysite says that Christ didn't know things, that's the same as a duophysite saying that in his humanity Christ didn't know things. That's not the same. Someone who believes that Christ has two natures can have Christ know things through his divinity, but not know some things through his humanity. But because he's both human and divine, he still is said to be all-knowing. But if someone just says Christ has one nature, and that one nature doesn't know everything, then that person seems to be saying that Christ is ignorant, because there is no way in which he has any divinity to which to know all things, to be omniscient. Right. Deen doesn't know this and gets basic Christian theology that people learn through catechism completely wrong, and it's hilarious, and it's all captured on video. Let me prove it to you, Deen, really quick. I actually do this in the video, but I'm going to do it now, so it's just anyone who's watching can have the benefit of seeing it. This is from Vatican.va. This is what is known as the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the CCC. We read, "This human soul that the Son of God assumed is endowed with a true human knowledge. As such, this knowledge could not in itself be unlimited. It was exercised in the historical conditions of his existence in space and time. This is why the Son of Man could, when he became man, increase in wisdom and in stature, and in favor with God and man, and would even have to inquire for himself about what one in the human condition can learn only from experience. This corresponded to the reality of his voluntary emptying of himself, taking the form of a slave." That's Philippians chapter 2, verse 6. So there we have it from the Roman Catholic Church themselves, which apparently Deen did not know or bother to Google. But wait, there's more. Let's look at New Advent, a Roman Catholic site. They have the Catholic Encyclopedia there, and we can look at what that says about Christ's human nature and what that means for his knowledge via his humanity. Let's read. From the Catholic Encyclopedia, we read about Christ's acquired knowledge. Jesus Christ had, no doubt, also an experimental knowledge acquired by the natural use of his faculties, through his senses and imagination, just as happens in the case of common human knowledge. To say that his human faculties were wholly inactive would resemble a profession of either monothelitism or of docetism. This knowledge naturally grew in Jesus in the process of time, according to the words of Luke chapter 2, verse 52, and Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and grace with God and man. Understood in this way, the evangelist speaks not merely of a successively greater manifestation of Christ's divine and infused knowledge, nor merely of an increase in his knowledge as far as outward effects were concerned, but of a real advance in his acquired knowledge. Not that this kind of knowledge implies an enlarged object of his science, but it signified that he gradually came to know, after a merely human way, some of the things which he had known from the beginning by his divine and infused knowledge. According to Deen, his position is that the Roman Catholic Church, New Advent, and the Catholic Encyclopedia are heretical to themselves. That's what Deen thinks. Oh man. Deen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the character that we're dealing with here. This is the level of ignorance.
So, guys, because I'm coming up at the end here, we're gonna get to the point. I want you. First of all, I want you guys to go watch this video. I don't want you guys to just watch it here. Chris at Speaker's Corner obviously worked hard on this video. I know that. Definitely, Johnny knows that. Making videos is time consuming, guys. It takes a lot of time. I am not going to cheat you guys or cheat Chris out of the view for this video. Please go check this video out. Everybody in here, please go check this video out. I want to get close to the time where basically we see how he frustrated Deen, because this goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So let's see. Where did it go? Okay, so check it out. So let's go here for the last few minutes and see what was going on and how Deen got really upset, which is very easy to do. But yeah, definitely, if you guys are going to go watch the video, don't just get on it either and get off right away, because that really does hurt analytics for a video. Let it play. Watch the whole thing for yourself. Watch it in the background, whatever, okay?
That's what I'm saying.
My position is the same in this sense.
No, it's not.
Because
why am I different?
Because
they say you can't say he doesn't own his human nature. I was literally speaking.
I literally just wait. I just googled it, right? AI summary in the Catholic understanding, Jesus grew in knowledge.
Where are you reading from? Where are you reading
Not because he was ignorant or lacked divine knowledge, but because his human intellect developed through experience. And they quote Luke 2:52, which is what I was referring to. Just Google. Do the first Google result for Catholic, Roman Catholic, Jesus grew in knowledge.
Share your screen. Share your screen for us.
Literally just Googling the first thing, and you guys are like, no, it's not real.
I want to see the source, bro. I don't know.
My point is literally, it's a AI summary.
Share your screen for us. Share your screen for us, and then let's have a read.
I am summary. Right, okay, so let's go through this. In the summary, I literally just Googled.
You're a waste of time, bro. You're a waste of time.
It quotes from the Catholic Encyclopedia.
You're a waste of time.
The Catholic Encyclopedia.
Yeah, you're a waste of time.
With the Catholic Encyclopedia.
You're a waste of time.
Wait,
Dean, you're a waste of time.
Dean,
you've been
let's not devolve into that.
So look, so he was looking for an excuse, right? So he said, look, he searched it in Google. Catholic Roman, Jesus grew in knowledge. It's right there. In the Catholic understanding, Jesus grew in knowledge and favor as a human being. Not because he was ignorant or lacked divine knowledge, but because his human intellect developed through experience, as stated in Luke 2:52, which says, and Jesus advanced in wisdom and age, and grace with God and men. This human growth is understood as acquiring knowledge in a natural human way, expressing his perfect divine knowledge through the process of human living and interaction with the world. Now, this is where it's pulling the info. It even shows you. So you guys know when you use Google now, what happens is the relevant information is pulled out by Google through the AI overview, and it shows you the sources where it's pulling it. Look, you see right here, Luke 2:52 says it. You see right here, Christ acquired knowledge. It's literally pulling all the relevant information and showing you exactly what you're looking for. Yes or no, right? This guy gets mad because he knows now he has to save face. He cannot allow Chris to humiliate him like this, even though he already is. Because yes, he does have a large amount of very blind and ignorant followers who will continue to clap and cheer for him regardless of what stupid thing he says. But he can't get destroyed this bad. And then he's going to try to say, and somebody said that to me the other day, why do you have AI on your screen? Oh, I'm sorry that I can't use Google, a search engine, to find the answer that you are claiming says something else. And I think it was that con fool who calls in here all the time.
I literally Googled it, and it referenced. Did he leave?
Yeah, I think he dropped.
Muslims, if there's any Muslims in the chat, I want you guys to understand something. Google is not pro-Christian. Johnny is my witness. Google is not pro-Christian. Google is not a fan of Christianity. Google is extremely progressive and anti-conservative. So when you guys accuse us of using AI because Google decided to integrate an AI portion into their search engine and still show you on the side, here, let's do it ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. What did he say? Catholic, Roman, Jesus grew in knowledge. Let's do that for ourselves. Catholic, Roman, Jesus grew in knowledge. Let's do it for ourselves. Look at that. Look at that. And look at here on the side. It's even telling you, look, it got it from Reddit posts. It got it from Catholic culture. You can even see everywhere it pulled the information from. So now what Muslims are upset about is the fact that Google and AI are just making our fight against their lies more efficient. Because it's literally summarizing everything for you here and telling you where it's getting it from. Look, it got it from Reddit. It got it from YouTube. It got it from Ligonier Ministries. Christian, yeah, is Christian scholars.
Well, Ligonier is Reformed.
Are they?
Yeah, that's R.C. Sproul.
Okay. From Wisdom Library, Our Sunday Visitor Catholic Magazine, Catholic Culture, and it's telling you here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the one on so I'm forgetting his name. Chris's screen had the Catholic encyclopedia right there.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, exactly.
The sources it used were good.
Right.
So even though right here, like it's some of the sources are a little wonky, like Legionnaire, that's but Chris, he showed it on the screen. One of the source, and you could go ahead and click it and look at it. Catholic encyclopedia, and as far as I'm aware, that's kind of one of the main passages they would use, Luke 2:52.
Yeah.
So.
And look, and it's right here. Look, when you dive deeper, look, it tells you 18 sites. Look at this. Our Sunday Visitor Catholic, I don't know what this is. Our Sunday Visitor Catholic something, Catholic Culture, PursueGod.org, CatholicManite.com, Catholic Answers, Reddit, Catholic Answers again, Homiletic and Pastoral Review, Wikipedia, the Bible Hub, Theopedia, ChurchofJesusChrist.org, New Advent, Thoughts Theological, Vintage Wichita, Reddit, and CatholicIreland.net. And it's saying the exact same thing. So now you're going to sit there and pretend like he was doing something wrong because he did that? Come on, man. Yes, baby. What? Let me see. You like it? Yeah. So yeah, guys, that's just classic. That is classic dodge and run. That is classic.
If you don't like the AI overview, which I don't typically try to rely on just that, you can go ahead and we could click the Catholic Encyclopedia.
Click all of them. Listen, Google is doing exactly what I have shown Johnny and thousands of other people to do when you are forced to use AI or when you insist on using AI. Like when I told people, if you're going to use Microsoft Copilot, if you're going to use ChatGPT, tell it to give you the sources for the answers it's giving you so that you can check them for yourself. Don't just rely on what it's saying because AI can make mistakes. I've seen it make mistakes. If Lily J can manipulate ChatGPT to tell her that Islam is a true religion, obviously it can be manipulated, right? So don't manipulate it. Do exactly what you're supposed to do. Be intellectually honest. The biggest problem with Muslim apologetics is the intellectual price tag you have to pay in order to do the mental gymnastics necessary to look at people like Muhammad as a prophet. It's crazy.
You know,
Come on. Man, this is so basic. I feel like
there's a link.
Yeah, Logan, it's not perfect. But you know what I like about it, though? When it gives you the AI overview, when it gives you the answer, it's literally telling you here on the side where to go. I hit dive deeper, and it told me every single source where it got it from. And you know what's crazy? Notice Deen didn't say, oh, you're using AI or whatever. He got mad and said, you're a waste of time, you're a waste of time, you're a waste of time. Because he was hoping that he was going to catch Chris using some other form of AI so that he can go off on that tangent, but he couldn't do that. You know why? Because he saw the screen and he sees these. Look, Catholic Encyclopedia, it's right there. It's right there. Are you seriously going to sit there and tell me this guy's a waste of time when he's using a Google search and one of the first ones it used was a Reddit post Quora and the Catholic Encyclopedia? I don't even want to know if he would have hit show all, what else it would have told him. And you guys saw when I hit dive deeper, you see everything it went to. And it said exactly the same thing that it says right here when he searched it. This is crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I would like to try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but Chris was very clear in pointing it out. Look, Catholic Encyclopedia on the screen. Yeah. It's right there.
Right. Right.
It's just...
See what. Wow, mama. What the AI overview does, you guys do understand that in Google, you still have the same Google. All it's doing is going out of its way to extract the information from these sites and give it to you. And then because it's aware that it can make mistakes, it gives you all of the sources right there on the right side. It's not hiding it from you. It's not even not telling you where it's getting it from, right? It's like people getting mad about Wikipedia. People have been reading stuff from Wikipedia for years with the hot links right there attached to it, and nobody questioned that. But now when a search engine is disagreeing with people, all of a sudden it's an issue. It's absolutely crazy because none of this information is wrong. You guys do understand that, right? None of that information is incorrect. Deen was looking for a reason to run away.
You were gonna jump out though, Chris.
I don't know if he. Wait, is he back? I don't know.
If he comes back, we'll stay for the 10 minutes. But
no, he said you're a waste of time, and he left.
Wow.
Oh no, sorry, no. I was just shifting screens. I was just wondering if he's back in backstage. No, he's not.
Okay.
He starts like insulting because he's realized he's been called out.
Right.
I bring up my screen. Well, I just asked the question. The AI overview agrees with me completely and references the Catholic Encyclopedia, which is what I showed earlier. Deen gets upset and he rage quits. So beautiful stuff. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you like this video. I'll make some more out of this big long debate we had because there was a lot of things to cover. This is probably already like 30, 40 minutes. I don't know. If this is not 30, 40 minutes, leave me a comment saying well done, because that means I did really well in the editing. But anyway, this is what we see when Deen is forced to debate. He pivots and gives every excuse not to debate, which is what you expect.
Yeah.
Anyway, God bless you all. That includes you, Deen, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Yeah, you know what,
Take
man?
care.
God bless. I'm the first one to give people a hard time, man. Because that's my nature. Not because I hate people, because I do love them, right? If I hated people, I wouldn't talk to you at all. That's my thing. I don't talk to people I don't like. And I'm getting better at that because, especially when I first got out of the army, I hated everybody. I didn't really care for people. That's just how it was. It is what it is, man. It's it's not too uncommon, but it's not a good way to live your life. Let's go here, guys, before we get off, because I do have some, I got to take a shower and stuff, and I got to get up early. A Young Christian's thoughts. Him and I are going to have to get down, and we're going to have to work on that name, man, because nobody can find this kid's channel. I have had people asking me, bro, what is Johnny's channel? And I've gotten on there, and even when we type it out, for some reason. Now, watch. I bet you if I get in there now and type it out, because I just pasted the link, it'll probably show me his channel. But let's see. A Young Christian's thoughts. Right? Let's see. Yeah, of course. I told you guys it would pop up. I typed it earlier and it didn't pop up, but that's because probably now I have it open, so it's now auto recommending. So here, guys, Young Christian's thoughts, please. Oh, this is what it did earlier. See that? You see what it did there? Because what I did was, check it out. So right there, when you do like this, if somebody spaces it out, this is what it does. It takes you like that, and then you can't find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have to work on that. Yeah, you moved up. You had 274 subs. You got a couple subs, right?
Yeah, it's been growing. I
Nice.
think ever since I first joined your panel, I was on like 230. It's been going up. I've had a goal for 300 by the end of the year. So it seems very possible.
Well, guys, let's go. Let's get him up. Let's get him to his goal, man. Listen. The first 1,000 subs is literally the hardest. It's so difficult, man. I remember when I first started actually caring about my sub count, it was painful. It was painful. It was painful, man. I would not wish that upon anybody. Let's get a Young Christian's thoughts up to 300 subs. Let's get him up to 30,000 subs. Let's get him up there, man. Let's get it going, man. Let's help him out. We got to bolster each other's ministries up. Johnny, thank you so much for being here tonight, man. Wednesday, it'll probably be around the same time, just depending, because with this training I'm in, there's really no way to know like when they release you. So it'll be more like these streams, more kind of laid back, welcoming Muslims to call in, of course. But this weekend, if anything, and I'm not worried about clips or nothing, because dude, I have so many videos I haven't gotten to edit. So I got ammo for years, honestly. Anything else you want to say before we go, my brother?
Other than that, keep reading your Bibles.
Yeah.
Actually, in my bio, I have this quote from Charlie Kirk: "Read your Bible every day.
Mm-hmm.
Do what it says, and tell other people what it says."
Amen.
So,
Amen.
that,
remember to proclaim with your mouth that Jesus is King, man.
Yeah, so I think we're all heading out now.
Yes, sir.
I'm also gonna go to bed soon, unless you're on the other side of the planet. Then
yeah, for real. I'm exhausted, man. Yeah, but Johnny, thank you so much, brother. If you think you'll be around on Wednesday, or
I think I will.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, hit me up on Discord if anything. All right, brother. Thanks, Johnny. I appreciate it. God bless, brother.
God bless.
Later. Guys, yeah, it's been a great stream, man. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off, man. Here at the end of the day, guys, we have to pray for Deen, man. We gotta pray for Deen. We gotta pray for Libiano. We gotta pray for Central Dawa. We gotta pray for Sheik Uthman. We gotta pray for these guys, man, because I would never want any of those guys to take their last breath and then open their eyes on the other side and realize that they're gonna suffer in a way that they never thought possible because of the way that they led other people away from the Messiah. And I know they don't see it like that now, but what you guys cannot do, what I cannot do, nothing is impossible for God. And that's something that we always have to remember when we're on our knees praying, when we're praying anywhere, when we're driving and praying, when we're talking to God, no matter what, man. Thank you guys all so much for joining. I see that not going live on 2 YouTube streams actually did work out pretty well. It's not like it was like a grand slam, but honestly, it did better than I thought it would. It did better than I thought it would, especially for an impromptu stream that was not scheduled or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where the numbers land at the end, but I kind of think this is what I'm going to keep doing, guys, because numbers isn't everything. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'd rather just have you guys all come to one stream and bolster the analytics that way and get the recommendations out there that way, because, you know, there's no reason to do 2 streams if we don't want to. And it is a lot more work, to be honest with you guys. So thank you guys so much, man. Be safe, be good, be blessed. I'll see you guys when I see you. Remember that Jesus is king and the only way to heaven. Have a good one, guys.